going on, man? I wanted to ask Fresh a question.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Fresh, I wanted to know, right, as a man, how does it feel to know that the only reason you're successful is based on the talent of Myron?
Let's face it, the Freshandfit Podcast is not what it used to be. Many of their fans have become enemies of the podcast, but still, they still have their faithful and loyal few. And those people are picking sides between Myron and Fresh. This happened the other day when a caller called in and had extreme smoke for Fresh.
Yeah, how does it feel to know that if it wasn't because you met Myron, you would still be working at Chick-fil-A or whatever it is you used to do?
What was my last job?
Your last job? I don't know, man. One time I heard you say something about Chick-fil-A, but I don't know, something that wasn't as successful as what you're doing now. That's what it was. How does it feel to know that if Myron was to like just not be cool with you no more or fell out with you or something like that, you would be done. Like you wouldn't be able to make money anymore, you wouldn't be able to sustain your lifestyle anymore because the money you make now is 100% based on the intelligence and the talent of Myron Gaines and not yours.
Rewind! Before we go further, let's think about this pair, Fresh and Fit. Myron is supposed to be the business guy that runs the podcast with all of the intellectual prowess. Fresh is the guy with the quote-unquote connections that does things behind the scenes. And people believe that Fresh is just worthless on the podcast and he really doesn't have a space there. This was the point that Zira made when him and Fresh fell out.
I'm not even going to say Fresh and Fit because what the does Fresh really add to the show other than stuttering, stupid points? Even the women don't respect him. And we're talking about dumb who look at him and don't respect him. You know what I'm saying? What the does he add to the show?
And if you think about it, that might be true. But on the other hand, Fresh never kicks out women of the podcast. He never yells at them. That is always Myron doing that.
You want to go to war with them warriors? No problem.
Get the out of here, you fat.
And to be fair, Myron himself says, hey, listen, even though Fresh is dumb, he's kind of worth having around.
You guys could say all that you guys want to say about Fresh. Look, I get it. He stutters and he's black. But at the end of the day, bro, he's been an instrumental part of keeping Fresh and Fit afloat, despite the cancelizations, demonetizations, etc. So he does a lot of things behind the scenes, man, to keep the show going. You know? So
it's fine, man.
We would have been canceled by now. If it wasn't for Fresh, man. We've been going everywhere.
Fast forward! Let's return back to that caller. If you notice when the caller is addressing Fresh, Myron is not really saying anything. His facial expressions say a lot. And that, to me, means that Myron actually believes what the guy is talking about. Myron might actually believe that Fresh is actually dumb. And you know what? Fresh may believe that he himself is dumb. But let's continue on with this caller's situation.
It's kind of crazy to me that after everything Myron has done for you, he's made you basically made you rich, and you still kind of snake him a little bit, like, you know, like that whole Zira thing, you know, the things you say on Twitter, like those little shady, anybody who's got half a brain can kind of see what you're getting at. And it's kind of like, this guy made you rich, and for you to still be so unappreciative, I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, kudos to Myron for staying loyal to you and still with you, but yeah, that's crazy, bro.
So you think I stay Myron?
So the caller is saying, listen, Fresh, Myron is the one that has made you rich. And the way that you repay him is by going behind his back and attacking the people that he likes. And remember, Fresh CEO has fallen out with some of Myron's big time good friends. He's done it with Sneeko, but the biggest one was Zira.
So guy even tried to talk this out. But you know what happened to Zira, bro? This man-child literally went on the path of no return. Ketamine, coke, young. When I say young, I mean under 18.
Minor.
And it's like, yeah, A minor. And it's like, you know what? I feel bad for the guy, bro. You know what? I don't talk to him that often because I'm like, it's a lost cause, but bad for the guy, bro. This guy's like a fucking raging, like, idiot.
After that, Myron asked Fresh to squash the beef.
But you know what? I'm gonna back down because Myron said back down. Myron just said chill. I'm gonna relax. But I was mad earlier, bro.
Let's just handle some of this stuff behind the scenes, man. Like, look, bro. Like I said before, we already got everyone cutting after guys like me, you, Sneeko, Zirka, etc. Nick, you know what I mean? Calling us far right assholes and all this other bullshit. It's like the last thing we need is infighting, man.
Now, anybody who's heard Zirka admit that he likes underage women would understand why somebody like Fresh would be against it. I mean, anybody that is sane understands that associating with a guy like Zirka is stupid. And to be honest, it was Myron's investment money that bought a lot of the equipment for the Fresh and Fit podcast. But it was also Myron's big mouth that also stopped what was going on. You see, Myron had the money, but Fresh had the connections. Fresh knew people in the Miami area. He knew the models. He knew the people to contact. He knew how to actually make the podcast work. And I can tell you, you need people like Fresh in a business like that. For an example, you guys know I have another channel called The Pan-African Dating Show. And it's one thing to have the equipment and to have cameras and to have machines that you can do editing with. But you need people who know how to bring the girls, how to bring the guys. You need people that have ideation. And you need people that can go ahead and do things to make the whole concept work. Having a dating show channel is the same almost as having a podcast channel. And these things are hard to build. So if you don't have somebody like Fresh, and remember that Myron was like, he moved to Miami. He didn't know anybody. If you don't have somebody like Fresh, you can't really do anything. So Fresh is just as important as Myron because he made the business come together. He made it work. Now, this whole separation, which is going to happen soon, in my honest opinion, if you can see Myron's body language, Myron believes that he's just too good for Fresh. I believe that he thinks that he is a political analyst. He has more to offer than what just the Fresh and Fit does, since he needs to grift and they can't really make money off that anymore. And Fresh is sort of holding him back. And this is why a lot of the people in Fresh and Fit are choosing sides right now between Myron and Fresh. And the reality is that if Fresh leaves the podcast, Myron is done forever. The reason is this: Myron's already a hothead, but Myron without Fresh would just be Myron talking about Israel all day, talking about the gay agenda all day, talking about all the other things that we don't know Myron for in the first place. He's not a political pundit that anybody respects. He's not a political analyst that anybody respects. And he's not a world leader or thought leader or anything else that anybody respects. Myron is not that intelligent, no matter what he thinks. Without Fresh bringing in those girls and those OnlyFans models and kicking the girls out of the house, there is no real reason for anybody to watch Myron. This is why Myron tried to start a podcast with Nick Fuentes and Sneeko. And how did that work out? Yeah, it failed. And it failed miserably. It didn't even get started because nobody will be as dedicated to Myron as Fresh. Let me tell you guys something. I've been on my YouTube journey for almost 10 years. 7 of those years have been with Dima. We've had our ups and we've had our downs. But if Dima wasn't in the business, my content wouldn't be as far as it is today. Stop the show. Even though I made Dima rich in the process. Can I get a sound effect? If you don't have somebody dedicated to your work and elevating your work and making things happen for you, it doesn't really matter how talented you think you are. You just can't grow. And the worst decision that Myron can ever make is to get rid of Fresh. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.